I'm 42, and here are the marketing cheat codes that I wish I knew at 25. Starting with number 1. Marketing is all about creating a new opportunity. People love novelty, so when you show someone a completely new way to get the result that they want, selling becomes dramatically easier. Most people make the mistake of selling improvement offers, which are really just better versions of something that already exists, the old method. That means a better diet, a better workout plan, or a better marketing strategy. But people don't want better. What people want is they want new. Take a look at the new GLP-1 drugs, such as Ozempic, as an example. The old way to lose weight was diet and exercise, which requires discipline and consistency and constant effort. The new way is you just take a shot and you lose some weight. That's a much easier sell because it introduces a completely new mechanism instead of just another diet plan or a different type of exercise. Another great example of the new opportunity is Airbnb. The old way to travel was you stay in a hotel and you really don't have a lot of options and there's a lot of just generic experiences. But Airbnb came along and they said, we don't sell hotels. We sell a completely different way to stay, a new way to stay. Now, another key part of the new opportunity is that people rarely want to take responsibility for their own failure. So if you introduce a new opportunity, you now have an opportunity to say it was the old method's fault, not their fault, that they didn't get the result that they were looking for in the first place. Now, number 2 is sell the resort, not the airplane ride. In marketing and sales, we sometimes get too obsessed with our product or our service, and it's all we want to think about or talk about. But here's the thing, we're not the ones buying our product or service, the customer is. And customers only buy because they want an outcome, not because they want your product or your service. Think about the last time you booked a vacation. What you probably got excited about was the beach, the food, the pool, the drinks, or finally relaxing and unwinding. But what you probably weren't very excited about, and you probably didn't even think about until you were getting ready to leave, was the airplane ride. And that's because nobody wants the airplane ride. Nobody wants to get to the airport early, go through TSA, dig for your passport, wait at the gate, deal with baggage claim, or any of that other stuff that involves the airport. But the truth is, the airplane ride is necessary to get to the resort. But even though it's necessary, nobody wants the airplane ride. They just want the resort. So I hate to break it to you, but your product or service works the exact same way. Your product or service is the airplane ride, but the result that they want is the result of your product or service. That's the resort to them. So when you're writing ads, when you're building landing pages, or if you're getting on sales calls, your job is to sell the resort, not the airplane ride. Now that means that you're only going to focus on 3 things. The first thing you're going to focus on is what is it that they actually want? What's the outcome that they want? The second thing is how do they get it? And then the third thing, and this is what really ties it all together, is what is their life going to look like after they get it? Now, for the most part, nobody wants your thing. They want the result of your thing. And that's why this is so important. I once saw an interview with Paul Graham. He's the founder of Y Combinator. And if you don't know, Y Combinator has invested in tons and tons of unicorns, including Airbnb, Stripe, Instacart, Dropbox, DoorDash, and Reddit, among many other unicorns. So during the interview, they were asking him how they kept finding winners over and over and over again. And his answer was actually really simple. He said they only invest in companies that make things people actually want. And that was their key to success. So if you focus on the outcome that people actually want, and you talk about that in all of your messaging, everything that you're trying to do becomes way easier and it gets much easier to sell. Number 3 is understanding the difference between moving a prospect away from pain and toward pleasure. Now, marketing is all about messaging and your ability to clearly communicate that you can get somebody the outcome that they're looking for. Most of the time, there's only 2 outcomes that people care about. One outcome is getting away from pain, and the other is moving toward pleasure. For example, here's where you're losing $5,000 every year by filing your taxes incorrectly, versus here's how to make an extra $5,000 sports betting this weekend. The first example is an example of taking them away from pain, where the second example is an example of leading them toward pleasure. And how you use this matters a lot, especially depending on who you're talking to. Let me give you an example. A few years ago, I was walking through downtown Orlando with my 10-year-old son. Out of nowhere, some guy walks up and tries to hand my son a $10 bill. Now, my guard immediately went up and I pulled my son back because I'm 42 years old and I've never seen someone just handing out free money to strangers on the streets. I didn't know what his angle was, but I assumed it was a scam or a setup or something that I didn't want any part of. So as it turns out, he was actually just giving my son $10 for some reason that I still don't understand to this day, but that's the point. Even though it was free and even though he had the best best of intentions, I didn't trust it because he was a stranger. I went straight into protection mode. Okay, now imagine you're walking down that same street and you trip and you hit your head and now you're bleeding really badly. And a stranger walks up and he hands you a towel and he helps you get on your feet and he helps you sit down and he says, give me your phone, unlock it, I'm gonna call somebody to help you. Are you gonna be skeptical in that moment, or are you gonna be willing to accept the help? Most people immediately accept the help because people are far more willing to accept help from strangers when it leads us away from pain rather than toward pleasure. And that's why with a cold audience, people who don't know you, your messaging should be leading them away from pain. Stop losing money instead of here's how to make more money. Stop being embarrassed by your weight instead of here's how to lose 10 pounds by Christmas. Stop waking up exhausted and drained instead of here's how to get the best night's sleep of your life. Once someone knows you and trusts you, then and only then can you lead them toward pleasure. Number 4 is understanding that the one thing that you can do to increase sales is increase certainty. You have to remember, people buy because they want a result. If they don't buy, it's usually because they're uncertain that they're going to get the result, or they're uncertain that the money that they spend is going to be worth more than the result itself. Now, there's 2 easy ways to create certainty. The first way to create certainty is through social proof. Social proof is non-negotiable for me in any business that I start. The first thing I always do is I focus on getting results for customers. And then as soon as we get the results, we immediately collect feedback and testimonials that we can use as social proof so we can sell to more customers. Most people trust reviews and social proof just as much as they trust recommendations from friends and family. So social proof is absolutely essential for creating certainty because people believe that if several other people got a great result, then they're more likely to get that result as well. And one of my favorite statistics is that once you get 200 reviews, your revenue increases by an average of 44%. Now, the second way to create certainty is by using a guarantee. Everything I sell in all of my businesses comes with some form of money-back guarantee because it gives the customer an easy escape route if they're not satisfied. The bigger the guarantee, the more likely someone is to accept your offer. So a standard money-back guarantee is the bare minimum, but I prefer using a results-based guarantee. For example, in my coaching business, we know that our system works because hundreds and hundreds of people have gone through it and it's drastically changed their lives. So our guarantee is simple. If you go through our entire system and you follow the required steps and you still don't get the result that you're looking for, we'll work with you completely free until you get that result. Now, this is great because we know that if they follow the steps, they're going to get the result that they're looking for. We've seen it over and over and over again. But one of the biggest challenges that we face is getting the clients to actually go through and take the steps that are required to get the result. So this gives them an extra incentive to follow the program, which is going to get them the result that they're looking for in the first place. Another example of a guarantee is one that I use for my supplement company. And our guarantee works this way. If our product doesn't work for you, then not only will we give you your money back, but we'll also buy you our competitor's product and we'll send it right to your door. At SMB Team, one of our best performing offers is a 14-day trial that has a double your money back guarantee. And we often make that offer during our live events. And the way it works is that if somebody decides at the end of 14 days that they're not happy and this isn't for them, then we don't just give them their money back. We give them double their money back for wasting their time. So now one question that I always get is whether people will just sign up to get the double your money back guarantee. And I'm sure that some people do, but honestly, it's pretty rare that people actually even take the double your money back guarantee because they usually don't leave our program. And we know our product, we know our churn rate, we know our numbers, and the extra sales created by the strong guarantee are well worth the occasional extra refund that we have to give out. Number 5, whoever can best articulate the problem is automatically thought to have the best solution. As I've said many times, business and marketing are all about solving problems for other people. If someone believes that you can solve the problem they're experiencing, they're gonna buy. Now, as marketers, I've found that we often don't spend enough time describing the problem that our dream customers are actually facing. One of the most powerful feelings you can give a customer is the feeling of being understood. And because of that, one of the most important things you can do is articulate the problem that they're experiencing in vivid detail. For example, if I ask an entrepreneur, are you having trouble finding good employees? 100% of them will typically say yes. But that question doesn't really do anything. It doesn't describe the problem. Now compare that to this description of their problem. Tell me if this has ever happened to you. You decide you're ready to hire somebody, so you put up a job ad, but you only get mediocre candidates to submit their resume. You sort through and you read the resumes and you interview the best of the mediocre, and then you hire the best of the mediocre. And then once again, you're left frustrated because they produce mediocre results. They don't care about your business, and that just leaves you sitting there frustrated, thinking that you could have done it better, faster, cheaper, or easier if you had just done it yourself. In the first example, I just called out the problem. In the second example, I actually described the experience that they're going through. And when you describe the experience, not just the problem, people immediately feel understood. And when people feel understood, they're far more likely to believe that your solution is better than every other option on the market. Number 6, good marketing won't save a bad business model. A lot of times as a marketer or business owner, the number one question people ask is, how do I get cheaper customers? But that's actually focusing on the wrong part of the equation. Most entrepreneurs, most business owners, and most marketers ask how to acquire customers cheaper, when the better question is, how can I afford to spend more to acquire a customer? Because in business, whoever can and is willing to spend the most to acquire a customer will always win. And that's why your business model is so important. I've found that, in general, most businesses within the same industry pay roughly the same amount to acquire a customer. But the real difference is how much is that customer worth after they buy. Strong businesses have backends that continue generating revenue from the same customer over and over and over again. This allows you to spend more upfront to acquire the customer and gives you an advantage over all of your competitors. When I first started my marketing agency, our average lifetime customer value was around $20,000. That severely limited how much we could spend to acquire a customer. Fast forward to today, and we've added products and service and more revenue streams. Now our average lifetime customer value is in the 6-figure range. That allows us to spend significantly more to acquire a customer and still remain profitable. And more importantly, it allows us to spend more to acquire a customer than our competitors can afford to spend. When we first started, we only offered websites and search engine optimization. Now we offer all kinds of things. We offer websites, search engine optimization, paid advertising, intake, fractional CFO, fractional COO, bookkeeping, virtual assistant placement, and so much more. Those additions didn't just increase revenue, they also helped our clients get better results. And the interesting part is the more services a client signs up for, the higher our retention is. They stay longer because they're actually getting the outcome that they're looking for. Now, the easiest way to fix your business model is to make more profit per customer. And if you want 11 boring but effective ways to increase your profit so you can scale faster and afford to spend more per customer, click this video right here.